It's about time we take a look at Pokemon's Big Six. Now, what exactly is the Big Six? In football terms, it is the 6 biggest clubs in the Premier League. This is judged by their results and also the revenue they bring in. In Pokemon, it's difficult to determine revenue. Actually, it's not difficult at all. You can just look at Limitless. But we're going to be looking at the share that these decks have. And if you look at Limitless, the homepage right there, you can kind of just see the Big Six right there. So these are the 6 decks that we're going to be taking a look at today. And before we get into the video, comment down below what you think about your favorite deck and the current position it is in. There is quite a big divide from the 6th and 7th deck. Grimmsnarl has a 7.4% share, while the next deck, Raging Bolt, has a 3.7% share. And Grimmsnarl truly is the Tottenham of the Pokemon world. It has not won much. In fact, the first and only time it has won anything was earlier this year over in Merida, this past January. And yeah, this is its only Masters win, which does kind of show what is going on with the deck. However, we have seen it appear more recently in the top 16 of Seattle. We saw, I'm pretty sure, 2 of them in asymmetrical cut. Unlike one of the frauds in this list, it actually did show up to Seattle, which we'll get to in a bit. The thing is with Grimmsnarl, it does still have a chance to prove itself. It doesn't rotate, unlike some of the decks in the current Big Six, so it does still have a chance to prove itself. However, things aren't looking great post-rotation, because it loses a lot of its pieces. It loses Iona, it loses Countercatcher, it loses TM Devo, it loses TM Evo, Artisan, Arven, just to name a few. So it is losing a lot of the pieces. It becomes a much more aggressive deck post-rotation, you know, kind of just trying to spam Grimmsnarl attacks from as early as turn 2 and kind of abuse Monkey Dory and Frostlass. So at what point do you actually just stop playing Grimmsnarl and just start playing Monkey Frostlass with just counters to other decks? But that's where Grimmsnarl is right now. It's a deck. It is 60 cards, and it's struggling to stay in the Big Six, but due to lack of a better deck, it is there right now. And the next up is Mega Absol. Mega Absol is a weird one, to be honest. It feels like it has won a lot, and it has, you know, it won EUIC. It's also had another one in top 4, which is pretty big. It just had another 2 top 4 finishes at Seattle, a 2nd place included. So it's been doing really good, but the thing is it isn't played as much, mainly because the deck itself is kind of mid when you give it to just an average player. But like I said, you could say this about any deck where it's better piloted. It's better when it's piloted by a good player, right? Obviously, that's just the fact for any deck. But some decks just have higher skill ceilings, and this is one of them. For example, you could give a new player Ceruledge, and, you know, they'll probably look similar towards like a world-class player playing Ceruledge. Both gameplays will look fairly similar. It's a very simple deck, right? There's not really a skill ceiling. It's more of a skill floor, right? Whereas if you give a new player Zoroark, they will know pain. Absol is coming off an international W, like I said, so the deck is performing well. In fact, I'm pretty sure it has the best track record of any deck this year, so shout out Absol, shout out Tord. Obviously, Tord is the one who kind of brought it into the spotlight. And look, a lot of its pieces do rotate, like a lot of its pieces do rotate, but we did just see a variant of Mega Absol Kangaskhan win Champions League, the first major tournament post-rotation, so things are looking good for it. Things are looking really good for it post-rotation. Obviously, it kind of changes its identity, but I think post-rotation, it's still going to be a Big Six deck. If not, it's definitely going to be up there in like the top 10, sitting around there. Mainly because just people don't play the deck a lot. It's honestly not that fun. It's not an easy deck to play, like optimally, and it's just not that fun, right? There's a lot more fun decks in the current format. And the next one is definitely one of them. Charizard is in the Big Six. It's been in the Big Six for a very long time. Not as long as some of the other decks on this list, but the thing is, it kind of jumps back into the Big Six every few months. Like, it'll be here, and it'll disappear, and it'll be back, and it'll go again, and it'll come back. So we've seen a lot of iterations of Charizard, the main ones being Charizard Pidgeot, we've seen Charizard Dragapult, and then most recently, honestly, the best one, I think, is Charizard Dawnzard, right? It's Charizard with Terra stuff in it. It's the most consistent version of Charizard I have ever played, and it's also the most fun version of Charizard I've ever played. Honestly, put any deck in a Terra form, and it just becomes more fun, because you actually have more agency, right? So Charizard just, honestly, as a deck, has more ups and downs than an elevator, but currently we are at one of the top floors, because the deck is just doing great. It just won Seattle this past weekend by beating Mega Absol in the finals, and the Dawnzard version of this deck might seriously be one of the most fun decks in the game. Like I said, it gives you a lot of agency, and to be honest, it kind of feels like EVBox, just less shit. The deck is having a great send-off, as it will die to rotation. This is the first deck on the list where it does actually straight up poof, perish post-rotation. And hey, I mean, we can talk about Zard Pidgeot for a bit, because I mean, Zard Pidgeot is still in the conversation. It got a top 4 at Seattle, but Zard Pidgeot is still around. Could probably just end that there, to be honest. Yeah, I'm gonna end that there. Gholdengo, alright. Gholdengo is third, right? It is the third biggest deck. However, it is most definitely being put on Fraud Watch because it was shocking over in Seattle. The deck was nowhere to be seen. Like, I mean, its highest placement was 28th, a top 32 placement. It got outplaced by Joltik Box, Alakazam, Raging Bolt. This was not on my bingo card. Like, in the exact same format, it got second at EUIC right after winning a Sydney regional, right? So I genuinely have absolutely no clue what's gone on over in the Gholdengo camp. Like, we've seen it succeed. It has succeeded very recently, so what's happened? Right, I think honestly, it's probably due to the fact that a lot of decks are teching for Gholdengo. A lot of the matchups that used to be very favored for it just aren't as favored anymore. It doesn't take as many great matchups, right? Gardevoir is kind of favoring a Gardevoir Jellicent version. A lot of the good players are favoring the Gardevoir Jellicent version to kind of counteract Gholdengo, and that, you know, that for the first time, I think, in a while, that's now a negative matchup for Gholdengo, right? And a lot of the Absol decks are playing Toedscruel. Charizard is Charizard. Obviously, Charizard has a pretty good matchup inherently into Gholdengo because it can, you know, attack with fire attackers, which, you know, Gholdengo kind of struggles against due to its fire weakness. And it's just, yeah, not consistently beating things anymore. I think a lot of people are kind of shoving a lot of stuff into the deck to tech for these, you know, counter techs. And the problem with that is that the deck is losing, like, its identity. It was super consistent, and now it's just not, right? I think, honestly, I really like the Prime Catcher builds. I don't know about the Secret Box builds. I don't play Dango much. But when I do, it's Prime Catcher because it's just more fun and it's just more consistent, to be honest. Sure, you could say Secret Box, you know, helps the consistency, but it just doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it's compensating that much. Like, you know, Secret Box and something like Gardevoir does not feel like the same ace spec as Secret Box in Gholdengo. Speaking about Gardevoir, that is our second place deck. And honestly, seeing this deck in second place is beautiful. Like, even after all the things Pokemon has done for this deck, it isn't first right now. Like, this deck genuinely feels like Manchester City. No one actually likes the deck. It has no real fans. The only reason people play it is because it wins. And that's fair, right? The same way, the only people who support Manchester City IRL are glory hunters. You know, all 4 fans of Manchester City just are there because of the oil money that they got back in the day, right? That's the only reason people actually like Gardevoir, is because it wins a lot. But seriously, I don't think Gardevoir has anything left to prove. It's won it all. It's done it all, right? Last year, it finally got its crown. It won Worlds with when Riley McKay finally got that achievement that eluded Gardevoir for so very long. The thing that Tord was unable to do, win Worlds with Gardevoir. He got second place, and Riley got first. So it has a great track record at Worlds, to be honest. The only time it kind of completely fell off, I think I got 1 top 8 at the Hawaii Worlds. I don't really remember. I'll fact check that. But yeah, it's won regionals, it's won internationals. I'm sure it's won a cup and a challenge here or there. It's won Master Champions Leagues. So yeah, the deck will finally be put to rest next month, which is lovely to hear. However, its mortal nemesis and its enemy Dragapult doesn't die, and that is great. And chat, if you're a Dragapult fan, we are the biggest deck in the world. We are number 1. It is a great time to be a Dragapult fan. We've won a bunch. We're getting Pokepad very soon. The Devil rotates. Gardevoir's gone. Gholdengo's gone. And yeah, it just gives us more variation. Rotation is looking great for Dragapult. We get Chicken, what is it, Blaziken Dragapult looking good. We've got Terra Dragapult looking good. Dragapult Dusknoir is still doing its thing. Straight Dragapult looking to be the best deck in the game post-rotation. It's just a great position we are in. We're looking very comfortable. There's so much to look forward to. And the Terra Dragapult is one of the most fun decks I have ever played. The Straight Dragapult is one of the most consistent decks I have ever played. Dragapult Dusknoir is one of the decks I have ever played. And Blaziken Chicken is just kind of there because, you know, I guess we need some it honestly just feels like the diversity higher out of all the Dragapult variants. It genuinely feels like a diversity higher. I'm not too sure what Broski is doing there, but it is doing there. It has all of the tools to win at its disposal, and I'm fairly sure it will win a lot. There's no like perfect way to counter it, right? Due to it having so much flexibility, and the short-term solution being Clefairy, the thing is Dragapult trades pretty like well into Clefairy. And speaking of the pink blob, a lot of Dragapult decks are actually adopting the pink blob to try and counteract other Dragapults and also Lucarios, which was seen to be a big threat to Dragapult until we realized, wait, we can just use the pink blob and do pink blob things. So that is big. And not only that, now that you're attacking with other Pokemon, you can just keep your Dracloaks in play. You can just keep a draw engine. And that's something that is very important because not a lot of decks have draw engines, right? Like, what are the only decks that have consistent draw engines, right? The main draw engines I can think of are the Alakazam drawing things, the Dunsparce drawing things, Dracloak drawing things. And that's honestly it, right? I don't think there's any other major draw engines in the game. Pidgeot's gone. Are there any draw engines in the game, to be honest? Gholdengo's, you know, I mean, we got the stones, right? The sun and the moon still around. But yeah, Dragapult is the biggest deck. I think it's not going to move out of the big six in its entire, like, for the rest of its lifespan. It still has a year in it. I don't think it's going to move, like, you know what? We can come back to this video in a year and see if it ever moved out of Big Six while its lifespan from this rotation to the next. Dragapult's massive. We're massive. If you guys like the video, do the thing. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later.